One of the most fascinating stories in racing is Max Verstappen's rapid step up through the ranks to become a Formula One driver at the age of 17. Now that he's 25, nearly a true veteran of the sport, we decided to look at how he made a huge revolution in Formula One. When discussing the revolution he started, it makes it more sensible to answer with the skills he used in doing so. Let's start with qualifying, shall we? You and I know that when he was in junior racing, winning was more important than qualifying for Verstappen. But we're simply talking about the last few shavings of putting a lap together at that vital point here. His raw, underlying speed was what won races. But as he gained experience and grasped the discipline necessary for a Grand Prix weekend, he was able to put qualifying together as well. His time with Daniel Ricciardo really showed his progress. Ricciardo was a brilliant qualifier, and he had the edge at first, but Verstappen finally caught up to him and had a 10th in hand, finally qualifying in their final season together at Red Bull. When watching Verstappen's qualifying onboards throughout last year, it revealed that he's still a touch scrappy at times and isn't always stitching it together. He frequently makes slight blunders during the braking periods, which prevent him from completing a full lap. But when he does get it together, he's really quick and aggressive. There have been times when he left possible pole positions on the table, such as in Monaco and Mexico in 2018, but he has matured since then. You might say that the little inconsistency is also due to the fact that throughout this period of Red Bull's history, he's frequently been demoted to the third row regardless of what occurs. Thus, he puts everything on the line in an attempt to outperform, even after knowing the consequences will be starting 6th instead of 5th. If Red Bull and Honda become consistent title challengers, his attitude may shift. Not dramatically, but just enough to improve his qualifying game. So, he basically has this fire going on with him. When it comes down to how he executes his tricks down on the track, Verstappen has always been a driver capable of winning races, but he has raised his game in F1 to the point where he is equal to Hamilton. He, like Hamilton, is capable of overcoming a speed deficit and performing overtaking maneuvers at vital periods, allowing him to progress from strength to strength. There was a time when he appeared to be frantic, or at the very least impatient in racing scenarios, but he's since calmed down. It has a lot to do with what team principal Christian Horner has said. When you see Verstappen in your mirrors, it feels like it's a matter of when, not if, he'll pass you. He's grown more calculated, without losing his aggression but gaining patience and the ability to make a decisive move. He's always in the proper location when it comes to wheel-to-wheel racing. Well, that is simply instinct. You may argue that he has exceeded Hamilton in that category, but we'll have to wait a few more seasons to know for sure. Verstappen has also learned how to avoid asking too much of his opponent while passing, though his judgment isn't always ideal. However, he frequently strikes the ideal balance of accuracy and aggressiveness. Verstappen's strong strength was also a piece of huge evidence as soon as he joined Red Bull, with Verstappen winning in Spain on a two-stop strategy on his debut with the company. He worked hard with Toro Rosso to master tire management, and he completed that race flawlessly. He's built on it over time. Kimi Raikkonen demonstrated his ability to think through what he needed to do to accomplish the outcome in that race, which also involved wise management of the battery power under strain. He does possess the extra capability that great drivers lack. Verstappen was guilty of being excessively aggressive and moving around in braking zones early in his career. In 2016, we witnessed his iconic move on Raikkonen on the Camel Straight at Spa, but he's toned it down today. What is obvious is that he's never been intimidated by anyone. Back in his rookie season in 2015, he was able to compete with the major guns in the United States GP. He feels he belongs at the front of F1, and he's been training for it his entire life, and that's something we don't get to see every day. Now, when looking into his technical knowledge, this has greatly helped him, both on the paddocks and the track. Verstappen understands the physics of driving and can transfer that knowledge into powerful and accurate input to the team. We frequently hear him complain on the radio, but this represents his sensitivity. His clarity of thought extends to his knowledge of what the car is doing and his communication with his race engineer. His responses are always precise, which provides his engineer with what exactly he needs from the driver. It's a nice balance and it allows Verstappen to be consistently, unfailingly quick. The combination with Gianpiero Lambiase is as effective as the Hamilton-Bono bond. He does vent on the radio, but the dialogue is always constructive. Honda also values the clarity with which Verstappen provides technical comments. This provides information that may be used on the track to provide immediate improvements as well as long-term advantages. Verstappen, for one, loves Honda's attention to detail, even down to the wiring configuration. He frequently complains about power delivery or the feel of the car under braking, since those are areas that Renault, in particular, has vowed to make consistent. But Honda has had to improve on them as well. Verstappen, on the other hand, is unafraid of his flaws. Red Bull also plays a significant role in this. This was the team that brought out the best in Sebastian Vettel, who has struggled to duplicate his brilliance in the Ferrari setting, where he has been left to his own devices. To establish that connection, both parties must work together. Verstappen has also benefited from being upgraded to the undisputed #1 position at Red Bull. He's the team's future and the driver around whom everyone revolves. The way he communicates with the technical staff is quite positive, and we saw Pierre Gasly struggle to get through in the same manner. Now, when it comes to racing, the major aspects lie in the mental strength of the driver, and this is crucial for anyone in professional sport. And at age 25, you'd think Verstappen wouldn't be as strong as someone like Hamilton, but he is. There are still times when he isn't entirely in control. In Mexico, he lost the pole because he didn't back off under yellow flags. While he confirmed seeing the crashed automobile, he didn't notice the yellows, but he should have known a flag would be out there. It's not a case of ignoring it, but that level of awareness required to prevent these issues. His attitude to the whole incident was also odd because he was being asked questions about it and was growing agitated, which caused complications by making him appear more childish than he was. He, like many others, has that with me or against me mindset at times. Overall, he's been much better at controlling his emotions and dealing with losses, like he did in returning from that horrible start in Austria in 2019. But that's a long time back, isn't it? Verstappen, on the other hand, is just going to develop stronger and more confident in himself and his abilities. He recovered from last year's issues and emerged as a better driver as a result. That sometimes means he doesn't back down when he should, but such instances are becoming increasingly rare, and his performances is always consistent. This shows itself occasionally as a resistance to recognizing he has made a mistake when he plainly has, although this is not unusual for a driver of his sort. Nothing can get in the way of such ultimate self-belief. When he had his run of blunders last year, he maintained denying that he had or needed to modify his strategy. Yet as the dust settled towards the conclusion of the season, he did admit that he did make adjustments and that he's better for it. Isn't that right? Anyways, before we wind up today's episode, what do you guys think about Verstappen's racecraft when compared to others? Is it better, or do you guys have any other opinions? Do comment your thoughts in the comments section down below. We'll meet again in the next episode. Until then, goodbye.